Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so if I stumble over my words going forwards, I apologise in advance. And as always, I apologise in advance if the quality of this video isn't too great either. If there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it cannot be helped, and hopefully it's not too much of an issue for you. Should also say if there's any banging, it's probably my neighbours, can't really do anything about that. So, this is yet another Eurovision Song Contest 2020 related video. Specifically, I will be focusing on Sweden once again, as the fourth semi-final of this year's edition of Melodifestivalen will be taking place in just a few days. I have the information here in front of me. The 22nd of February is the date, and it will take place at the Malmö Arena in southern Sweden, in Malmö of course. 7 more acts will be taking to the stage. 4 will progress, 2 directly to the final, which is just a few weeks away, and the other 2 to the second chance round. Before I get into listening to 1-minute long snippets of those 7 songs in the 4th semi-final, I want to briefly talk about semi-final 3, which was last week on the 15th of February, that's last week at the time of recording this video, in Luleå in northern Sweden. Now, it's been a little while since I saw these performances, so I might be glossing over quite a few details here, but the song that finished 7th was a song that I actually quite enjoyed. It was Livet börjar nu by Albin Jonsen, who'd been involved in Melfest before. This was a very chilled out, low-key song. He was dressed very casually. There were a bunch of people on stage with him as well, also dressed casually. There was a bit of choreography, nothing too over the top. It was almost as if they'd made the stage some sort of room where decorating was going on, because I think in the rehearsal footage there was a ladder and some other props as well. It all looked as though it was under construction, if you see what I mean. Maybe I'm not describing this too well, but it really was a very sort of stripped back performance. I like the song, but it never really stood much of a chance. It really was lacking that little extra oomph to stand out enough. 470,431 votes though, but still finished last overall. It was sort of pop meets rap a little bit, I guess. I don't really know how to describe it. Anyway, the song that finished 6th was one of the pre-qualification qualifiers, if that makes any sense, and these songs never really do that well. This was Late by Amanda Asa. Nice vocals, decent female singer. She might well be back in the future, who knows, but this was really quite forgettable. I believe that there were some nifty tricks with the camera, you know, certain camera shots and things like that, but all in all this was a credible pop song that just didn't leave much of an impression. I barely remember the performance, I'll be honest with you. And then the song that just missed out on making the second chance round, so finishing in 5th place with just over 730,000 votes, was Faith Kakembo with Crying Rivers. This was, again, really low-key, really soulful, really nice vocals here. And it's a shame this didn't reach the second chance round, because it would have been a really nice, relaxing tune in the mix, if you see what I mean. I know the Swedish press were heavily praising this one last week, but clearly the Swedish public did not echo those sentiments, because Faith is now out of the running. Mainly black and white, minimal lighting. As I say, really soulful, a really pretty sort of tune, but maybe one that just wasn't memorable enough. I keep using that term, but maybe it really wasn't. I enjoyed it, but I suppose in this instance Sweden went for the more upbeat and maybe more engaging numbers. The songs that progressed to the final directly, no surprises here, Mariette and Mohombi. Now I think Mariette probably won this semi-final with Shout It Out. Again, minimal lighting for a song that was quite up-tempo. The only thing I didn't like about this song, and it's worth saying that I think this is more the type of music Mariette releases anyway. I think maybe her songs in Melfest in the past have been a little bit more polished, if that makes sense, or maybe songs that were written specifically for Melfest, whereas this one feels as though it's a bit more her own thing, if you see what I mean. Anyway, the one thing I didn't really like about this song was the fact she had an electric guitar with her. That just seemed utterly pointless. And you could barely hear it anyway. I don't even think she was really playing it, of course. So that just seemed completely irrelevant. But the rest of the song was good. It was quite energetic. She seemed really confident. She's got so much experience with Melfest, of course. This is in with a chance of doing very well in the final. And then Mohombi with Winners, I found this really quite disappointing. He had a structure on stage which was quite similar to what Armenia had actually at Eurovision in 2018. Sevak Kanagyan, I'm sure you'll remember this, he had this sort of circular structure around him, and Mohombi had something very similar which lit up at certain points of the song. It's an okay track, but I feel as though I've heard it many times before. It just felt really uninspired. I preferred Hello, his previous Melfest track, if I'm honest with you. And then, into the second chance round, the song that I think finished third was probably Pia och Dräng by Drängarna, and there was a sort of Irish feel to this. This was so much fun, and I think we need something like this in Eurovision. Sweden won't send it, but if this does make the Melfest final, I'll be quite happy about it, because it was really quite fun. It was energetic, it was catchy, it was in Swedish. And like I said a minute ago, it did feel very Irish, you know. There was sort of Irish jigging going on stage. I just thought the whole thing was really enjoyable. And I've listened to the song many times over the past few days. Certainly it stands out a lot more than Mohombi, in my opinion, and he went directly to the final. Also into the second chance round, Vem är Somos, or Vem är Somos, I think that's a typo, by Anis Don Demina. I have to say I don't think his vocals were that amazing at certain points of the song, but he was moving about a lot, so maybe he was out of breath. Again, up-tempo. This was quite catchy, very colourful in terms of the aesthetic here. Not a bad song, but it probably finished fourth here, in all honesty. So those are my thoughts on semi-final 3. I'm well aware that I'm rambling and not doing a very good job. Semi-final 4, I have the songs here, roughly 1 minute long segments of the songs, and I'm on svtplay.se. Let me know your thoughts, of course. Now, I apologise if the quality of this video gets even worse, but never mind. First up is Frida Örn with We Are One. Now, Frida is about 40 years old. She was part of Cookies and Beans, who were involved in Melfest a couple of times, albeit many years ago now. That type of music was sort of country in tone. This, I think, is a little bit more pop. I'm going to give it a listen. Here we go. Frida Örn. Okay? Yeah. Okay, this feels like an anthemic piece of music. Maybe a bit lyrically uninspired. Yeah. This isn't bad at all. But for something so upbeat, it feels a bit flat somehow. Yeah. The message of this song, I've heard it so many times before. We've heard it so many times before. It's so hard to do something like this and make it sound fresh. That must have been the last part of the song there. Yeah, that's not bad. I just feel as though maybe it could have been constructed in a slightly better way somehow, because I feel as though the melody, the lyrics, it's all a little bit expected. You know, We Are One. Yeah, a sort of anthemic sort of piece of music, but otherwise nothing truly amazing there. Maybe second chance round. Next up is William Strid, young male musician with Månljus. Let's give it a listen. Now, I should say, this video is... there we are. I should say that I looked at what the Swedish press were saying yesterday in their first reports, and they were impressed with Hanna Färm and Victor, but somewhat disappointed by the rest. And some comments that I've already seen online earlier today about these songs, it seems as though none of these entries in this semi-final are capable of winning Melfest, but of course that's just a matter of opinion. We will find out in a few weeks. Anyway, William Strid, here we go. Chains around his neck. A sort of a sort of plinky melody going on in the background here. Stumbling over my words there. This is a bit dull, unfortunately. It's in Swedish though. Okay. This chorus is a bit more promising. It needs to build up. Really does. Very nice, very pleasant, but if the whole song doesn't really go anywhere, I don't think people are really going to respond to it and vote for it. That was okay, but again, nothing truly spectacular. I don't think that'll progress. Song 3, well, here we go. The legend that is Nana Grunwald, who's been involved in Melfest a whole bunch of times, but I remember her best for being part of One More Time in 1995 with Den Wilde, the Wild One. Really beautiful song that did well at the actual Eurovision contest that year. I'm expecting this to be a bit of a jokey song. Here we are, Carpool Karaoke. There's an urgency to the beat. This feels dated. I suppose this is Schlager pop. It's sort of pop meets rock. I mean, I quite like the melody and the beat, but I don't think you can take this very seriously at all. I'll have to look at the English lyrics. Yeah, fast-paced. I mean, it's a bit silly, but it's not dreadful. Based on that 1 minute alone, that's not dreadful. And given how popular I'm assuming Nana still is in Sweden, I think that's in with a chance of making the top 4. Let me know your thoughts. Next up, it's Victor Kroner with Troubled Waters. Now, this is a contender apparently, and we know that Sweden love to send a male soloist, so Victor's in with a good chance, I'd say. And, of course, he represented Estonia last year. Let's give it a listen. He is actually Swedish, though. Acoustic guitar. Okay, again, this sounds very similar to something I've heard before. I'm trying to work out what it is. I'm not sure. Anyway, doesn't really matter. This immediately, to me, seems better than Robin Bengtsson. Is his voice powerful enough for this? Time will tell. Come on, it needs to build up. Come on. It reminds me a bit of Imagine Dragons. Not sure why, it just feels a bit Imagine Dragons-y. Uplifting. Ah, this is exactly the sort of thing Sweden would send. I mean, it's fine, but it's not a Eurovision winner. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. That is in with a really good chance. We then move on to Elin Benediktsson and Simon Peyron with Surface. Now, Elin has been involved in Melfest a bunch of times before. She had a really beautiful ballad several years ago called Songbird, and then she had a song called Insomnia, which didn't progress. Simon is a member of Outrigger, who have also been involved in Melfest before. Let's give this a listen then. Quite an interesting duo. It's a ballad. Yeah, this feels like an emotionally charged ballad. It's quite nice. I mean, we've heard it all before, but it's quite nice. Okay, building up a little bit. Needs to build up more though, because this might get dull quickly. But that's really not bad. Quite like that, need to hear more of it, that's for sure. And then we have Om du tror att jag saknar dig by Yakko. There he is with a hat on. Young male performer here. And the music of his that I listened to a couple of weeks ago I was quite impressed by. Let's see if this is any good. Ooh. Bit funky this. I'm liking this so far. And it's in Swedish, always a plus. Okay, this bit here reminds me of There's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes. If you're familiar with that song, maybe you'll be able to understand what I'm getting at there. There is a whiff of the Shawn Mendes about this. But it's not a bad song. I quite like it. Not bad, not bad. Now, the last one. And if you are last in the final semi-final, that's usually a pretty good sign. It's Hannah Fern, beautiful female performer. Of course, she teamed up with Liamu last year with Hold You, which finished 3rd overall. Let's give this a listen. The song's called Brave. Okay. This feels like a bit of a sassy tune. It's got that sort of 90s R&B thing going on in the background. The chorus isn't bad. But I don't think this will win Melfest. No. Yeah, it's fairly catchy, and there is a sort of retro thing going on there. I'm not really sure how to describe it. That's probably going to be this semi-finals winner, but I don't think that's going to win Melfest. I really don't. You've got to be looking at mid-table in the final for that, if it gets there, which I'm sure it will. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. A big ramble. But those are the 7 entries in the 4th semi-final of this year's Melfest. Frida, William, Nana, Victor, Elin and Simon, Jakob and Hannah. Let me know your thoughts. I'm very interested. For me, having listened to those snippets, and I'll listen to them again shortly, off camera, Hannah and Victor will go through directly to the final. And I think Elin and Simon and Nana will go through to the second chance round, meaning that Frida, William and Jakob will miss out. Me personally, I would probably say exactly the same, although I might swap Nana for Jakob based on those snippets I've just listened to. Anyway, big long rambling video, dear oh dear oh dear. We are just a few weeks away from finding out who will represent Sweden at the Eurovision Song Contest in Rotterdam, in the Netherlands of course. Just a few months away now, so many more songs to be revealed. And I will be back at some point with another Eurovision related video based on all of the Melfest songs, because I've now heard snippets or the whole thing of all of the entries. A lot of people are saying it's going to be Dotter, but for me, Anna Bergendahl had the better, stronger song from that second semi-final. So I would say the Mamas and Anna Bergendahl. Those are the acts to beat at this moment in time. Possibly Mariette at a push. Let me know what you think, and until next time, thank you very much for watching. Apologies if the quality was so-so. Can't be helped, unfortunately. I'm going to shut up now. Thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.